We're back, or I'm back. He's back again, I guess. I don't know. This episode is brought to you by New Glarus Belgian Red, which is amazing. Shout out to all my Wisconsin peeps because you can buy this whenever y'all want. You can only get it in Wisconsin, and we stock up and have beer mules when our friends go there. So, and of course we have to drink it out of our great taste tasting mugs, glasses. You know what I mean. Great Taste is, I think, either the biggest or one of the biggest tastings in the United States. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a treat. We save these for special occasions, and what is more special than the Fiber Friends tag? Hello. Cheers.
Christmas.
Christmas is not, no it isn't. I don't think it is.
Okay. Cheers.
Oh, that's so good. For all of you who don't know, I'm Chevyrell. I'll link the intro thing, as always, if this is the first video that you've ever watched of me and don't know who I am. This is Dan. He can introduce himself.
I'm Dan.
Why we're here today is many of you have written us or me questions that we are going to ask, or I am going to ask, and hopefully you guys will do the tag as well, our significant others, best friends, parents, whoever is in your world consistently that kind of side-eyes you on the whole fiber addiction that we all love and share. A lot of these questions came from the viewers. A special shout out to Sissy Knits. She gave me great questions. She is a new to me podcast that I just started watching. She's awesome. I like her a whole bunch. This was actually her idea, she said, from a long time ago. So we must have ESP, and I just kind of beat her to the punch. But she was nice enough to share her questions that she already, I think, had on her mind. And this will nudge her to get Mr. Sissy in front of the camera, so hopefully we'll get to meet him as well.
Does that make me Mr. Chevy?
Mr. Chevy, maybe? I don't know. Is he Mr. Chevy? Mr. Chevyrell? You're just Dan. He's just Dan. He's always been just Dan. Cheers.
Just Dan.
Cheers to just Dan. I hope this tag takes off because there are many yarn husbands, fiber husbands that I would love to meet, even if it's just for a little snippet of time. We all know Rich from Knit Styles. I hope that Sharon can get him to answer some of these questions because I think they would be great. A lot of them we already know from him since he's already on her podcast, but I bet he would have some pretty good answers to these. And I would love to meet the grocery girls' husbands. Can you imagine if they did it? That would be so much fun. Let's get started. On to the questions. What's your favorite thing that I've knit for you?
I don't know. Where's my script?
You have no script.
Oh, crap. Socks. Minecreeper socks.
Minecreeper socks.
Yep.
Minecraft socks.
Minecraft creeper socks.
Yeah, I will enter a picture here if I remember. Do you have a favorite thing I have knit / spun in general?
Probably the farm to sweater thing.
The sheep to sweater?
Yeah.
The colored one or the natural one?
No, the natural one.
The natural one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Why?
Fun.
It's fun.
It was fun, like the project.
Because of the cables?
Like seeing everything all the way from
start
the
to
farm
finish.
to
Gotcha.
a sweater.
Does it annoy you when I knit in public?
No.
What's your favorite fiber festival we've attended and why?
Golly, probably Yellow Springs.
Okay.
Right? Because there's a bunch of stuff to do, not the fiber festival. Like, you're at the fiber thing for a couple of hours on one afternoon. You can spend the rest of the weekend in Yellow Springs.
Okay, so Yellow Springs is a fiber festival in Ohio, Yellow Springs, Ohio. It's actually called the Wool Gathering, I think, and it's at Young's Dairy Farm. If any of you are close enough to it, it's sometime in September. It is a great festival, and Yellow Springs is super cool. They have great stores, they have a brewery, they have lots of places to eat. It's just really cool, and you should go there.
Good food, lots of bike trails.
Yeah, bike trail. Yeah, it's super cool. There's a little waterfall that we've never really made it to, but it's on the list.
Actually, it's a
So,
spring.
It's
It's yellow because of the rust in the dirt, or the iron in the earth, and it comes out yellow. It's a yellow spring.
We got a history lesson from a local while sitting at a bar, which is one of our favorite things to do.
Sit at bars.
You always sit at the bar. You always sit at the bar because you get to talk to the locals and the bartender, and it's like way more fun because you get to meet new people. We will be going to Yellow Springs this year. We try to make it every year. It is on the calendar. So if y'all want to mark it on your calendar, I will link it so it will be easy for you to find. Does it bother you when I drag you to yarn stores?
Not if you're in and out, like 20 minutes. But when you spend 3 hours in a yarn store.
When have I ever spent 3 hours at a yarn store?
Let me check Google. I'm sure I can come up with at least 2.
What's the coolest thing you've learned from my addiction? You haven't learned anything from my fibery world?
How spinning wheels work.
Oh, because he's an engineer, so when I got my spinning wheel, he was all about it. There are plans somewhere, I don't know if they'll ever come to fruition. What?
Knitting machine.
You have plans for a knitting machine now?
I'd like to see how one works. So I'm waiting for you to get one so I can play with it.
I would love a sock machine. I would love a sock machine, except they are not cheap.
If anyone out there has an extra one.
I was told by people who know how they work and who own them that I shouldn't buy a used one. They're like spinning wheels. You want, like, the only reason that you should buy a used one is if you know what you're doing and how they work already. I would love to have one of those. Amber, the Amber, the yarn hoarder, has one, and there was big scuttlebutt on Instagram when she first got it that I think there were some snarky comments on there about how sock machines are cheating, and that's dumb. No, it isn't. There's hand knitting and there's sock machine knitting, and that's dumb. They're still handmade. It still takes hours. She still hand knits socks. It's just different. It's not the same as hand knit socks, but it's definitely not cheating. Of course, that's totally my opinion. But that's how I feel. Have you ever wanted to knit yourself?
I tried. Once.
Dan's fingers don't work. He's carpal tunnel surgeries, broken them a bunch of times, other surgeries. They like don't bend right, so.
I don't have the proper dexterity.
Sheldon. Does it bother you when I buy yarn?
As long as the bills are paid, you can buy anything you want. You could buy raw water if you wanted to.
That probably does cost money, doesn't it? There's such thing as raw
water. Oh, it's
water.
horribly expensive. Yeah, guys selling raw water out of a lake. Look it up. She'll put the real price here, but it's like, I don't know, $10 a gallon or something stupid.
Am I the only one that didn't know there was such thing as raw water? What do you think about me podcasting?
You are getting famous.
No, I am not.
People stop her everywhere we go and ask for her autograph.
That is such a lie. So.
It's happened at least once.
No, it hasn't.
Every time we go out to eat, they want your autograph.
On the credit card bill?
Well, yeah,
or
but
credit card?
It still counts.
Do you know the difference in weights of yarn?
Kind of. Fingering is little and bulky is big.
Good answer. Close enough.
That's all I got.
What do you knit with fingering weight?
Socks.
Aw, see,
Well, I don't knit anything.
He has learned stuff.
Not hats. Hats are chunky.
When I first started dating Dan, he wanted me to knit him hats. He wanted, what's it called? Lion brand, like whatever the super chunky, super bulky, I forget what it's called, on like size 7s. You guys, by the time I was done, I knit him 2 and I was like, I'm done. You're not ever getting one of these again. They can stand up on their own.
They can. It's my favorite hat. My favorite stocking cap.
And the most unpleasurable things to knit ever. Do you have a favorite yarn dyer?
No.
Can you even name a yarn dyer?
No.
Really?
Red Heart.
No. Do you know how much an average skein of yarn costs?
An average skein for normal people or an average skein for you?
See, he does learn. Let's go an average Joanne skein of yarn.
Oh, Joann's? I don't know, $6-8.
An average skein of indie dyed yarn.
Oh Lord, 20, 25, 30?
That's pretty good, baby. If I were to ask you to buy me yarn, what would you do?
Run away screaming.
Oh, you wouldn't either.
I go to Simply Socks and tell whoever's there that Chevis wants yarn. That's what I did the last time.
And they're awesome. They know what I like there. How many balls of yarn do you think I could smuggle in the house in a month?
All of them.
Yeah, he doesn't pay attention to that kind of stuff at all.
Yes, I do.
I have to tell you when I get something new.
Yeah, but I pay attention then.
I have to point it out. There would be no sneaking. I have to sneak nothing with Dan. We've been together for, it'll be 12 years in June, and it's what I love about him is we do what we want, and it's awesome, and we support each other, and if I want to buy yarn, I buy yarn, and I don't have to hide anything or sneak it in the house or...
She pays absolutely no attention to me.
Yes, I do.
Oh.
A lot of times he's out in the barn, like whittling something. No, that's a lie.
I don't whittle.
Table sawing something, or staining something, or building something, or like he spent 2 days out there building a cart for a CNC machine. So he doesn't care if I knit.
It took 6 days, but...
6 days. I stand corrected.
And don't pay attention.
And don't pay attention. Can I yarn bomb the house? It kind of already is.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
Would you say I'm obsessed, interested, or dabbling in fiber?
Well, if this is dabbling, we're in trouble. I don't know if I'd say obsessed, but that's because it sounds bad, but maybe.
I would say it's just my gig. Like, it's my thing.
You don't go anywhere without it.
Yes.
It's pretty obsessive.
Yes, okay. We can call it an obsession.
And if you go to dinner without
I'm
it...
totally fine with that.
If you go to dinner without your yarn, you obsess over it all night long.
If
I believe that's the definition of obsessive.
Yeah. It's definitely addiction. If I leave the house without my knitting, I do get a little antsy that I don't have it. And
Feels
mad
like
because I could be knitting. What is really going through your mind when you go to a yarn store or a fiber festival, or I get yarn in the mail? Like, does it bother you? Are you like, oh, another yarn shop? A lot of times he'll just wait in the vehicle while I go into a yarn shop, unless because we go to yarn shops on our travels, and you'll go in and check it out there. We went to a yarn shop. It is now closed. Shipshawana, which is in Indiana, right? It's in Indiana.
It's near South Bend.
Is Amish country. And they have a huge flea market there. There's a German restaurant there that has wonderful homemade food. People flock there, mainly seniors,
And us.
Because
We eat dinner at 4:30.
yeah, I am basically an 80-year-old in a 38-year-old's body. What? 37. I'm 37 for the next couple of weeks. What year is it? 2017. Yeah. Anyway.
It's 2018, but
Oh,
go on.
yeah. Right. Yeah. Anyway.
Maths are hard.
There was a yarn shop there that I believe has since closed. We go in, and it was one of those yarn shops that had other things. It was mostly yarn, but they had a lot of things. Their button selection.
Where was this? I don't remember.
Shipshawana.
I know that.
I don't know.
Okay.
What do you mean, where was it? It's like on the main drag someplace in Shipshawana.
Okay.
I don't remember the name of it or anything.
Blocked it out.
Said, I think it has since closed. But we go in, and I'm walking around. Their button selection was amazing. It was a cool store. Dan, I look at him, and he looks like he's crying, and he was like, I have to get out of here.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, why? And he went, look up. And we look up, and there was, Dan has allergies. The entire ceiling was like hung upside down, dried like lavender and flowers and
Herbs
shit
and
all
spices
over
and
the
flowers,
ceiling. I mean,
entire store.
his face was all red and puffy. I'm like, I'm sorry. But that's really the only one that.
I waited in the truck.
If you could have,
you make me.
who typed these questions? If you could have me make you anything, what would it be?
A hat. I'm not getting a hat.
Oh, he'll get a hat, but he's not getting Lion's brand super chunky on size 7 needles ever again. So if he ever loses those hats, he is SOM and F and L
Black neon green hat.
to match
Still
your
waiting on
socks.
that.
What? I mean, knit you socks.
That's not neon.
Dan, that is neon.
No, that's neon.
I need neon green. Somebody hook me up with black and neon green. This is what he's talking about. Okay, now show him your socks. Put your foot up here. He's saying this green is not neon. That is.
Hold that up.
This is like highlighter yellow. That's still neon green.
No, it's just green.
That is neon
just
green.
green.
This is just green. That is neon green.
Not neon.
Ew. Beer me. Cached. Okay. Where are we at, yo?
Living room? No, stuff room.
There you go. If I've already made you something, do you wear it? I'm wearing the socks that he's, yes.
Sweater? Still don't have a sweater. I wouldn't wear it anyway.
I would love to knit Dan a sweater, and I have patterns that I think would be awesome, and he doesn't want them. I'm still holding out hope because there was a time that he didn't want socks, and then all of a sudden, like a light bulb went off somewhere in his head, and he wanted socks. So
I don't remember not wanting socks.
of course you don't. Okay.
Prove it.
Another use for knitting needles would be
Zombie pokers.
zombie pokers.
Yeah, cut the ends off. Put them in a crossbow. Homemade bolts. Done.
Dude, I love it. The old school aluminum ones.
Or you could get Christmas tree lights and put a bunch of knitting needles along the walk and zip tie the Christmas tree lights to the tops of them.
Life with an engineer. This is why we Pinterest and DIY like everything. The ideas are endless. What is my stash really like? Do you think I could do more or
We've plucked
less
it here
or
recently,
what?
but it was filling in quite nice.
You're an ass. My knitting stash. What do you think of it?
What's the full question?
Do you think that I could do more or less?
Could or will? My answer's the same. You're going to.
Well, I don't think my stash is unreasonable. Actually, I'm totally jealous of a lot of people's stashes. Michelle on Naughty Knitwitch stash is amazing. Yarn Hoarder, she basically has a store behind her. I have what? That's it right there. That is my stash. As well as my hand spun. There's a couple baskets of hand spun.
How many totes do you have laying around full of yarn?
I have one tote in the craft room of like bargain store yarn that I will, go peruse through for gift knitting, for non-yarny people that will wash things.
How many
But
other
it's
random
not
balls and
even a
skeins
full.
do you have laying around in the craft room?
None. The only other thing that I have is my fiber tote. I keep my spinning fiber in a tote because I don't want it to get dusty. I have a few things out, but for the most part, it's in a tote.
You have 3 or 4 bags laying around in process. There's yarn everywhere.
No, there isn't. He's lying. I have a craft room and the stuff room, and that's where it all is.
4 bags on the kitchen table. How many bags are in the...
That stuff, that doesn't count. I'm working on that.
Yeah.
That stuff I'm knitting.
It doesn't count.
How do fiber crafts help me?
They keep you from killing me. So I'm pretty sure you'd have done that by now.
I can answer that for him. I am terrible. He's used to it. I am a terrible passenger in a vehicle. I don't.
Oh yeah. Yes.
I don't
Yes.
like that I'm not in control. Like his foot is not on the brake fast enough for
matter.
me.
You still cry and scream even when you're driving.
Because people piss me off. They're dumb.
It's everybody. Everybody on the road except for her. She's the only good driver. Everyone else is stupid.
Whatever. Knitting in the vehicle helps our relationship because I am not looking at the road.
It keeps her from coming unraveled.
Yeah. How much money do you think I spend on yarn?
$10.
We'll go with that. Can you explain the difference between knitting, crochet, and spinning?
Yeah. Can't everyone?
Oh, I don't know. Other husbands / people who do this, I'd be surprised. There's a lot of people that don't know. I mean, obviously everyone should know what spinning is. Thank you, Sleeping Beauty. But knitting and crochet, people get that mixed up all the time. Are you going to answer it, or you just want them to think that you know?
No, you crochet with a hook and you knit with sharp pokey things.
Yeah.
More than one. Generally less than 6.
Like I said, almost 12 years of this. If he didn't know the answers to some of these questions, I would be concerned. How do you explain me being a knitter to others?
I say she knits.
Yeah, basically.
We all know what knitting is.
What is one thing you wish I liked to do as much as I like doing my fiber stuff?
Hang out in the barn.
Yeah, Dan hangs out in the barn a lot, and I used to hang out in the barn
Just
a
hang
lot.
out. I have a stool. I just sit there and stare at the floor.
No, that's me. Like, I'm plunked in a chair, and he is working the whole time. This is a rarity. Dan does not sit still for this long, basically ever. Oh, this is a good one. If I were to die tomorrow, what would you do with all my fiber stuff?
Tell
To who?
it.
Okay, my stepmom, Mama Jean, who's doing my quilt for all of you who have watched my other episodes. She, back in the day, used to do
Longenberger.
Longenberger. I can't ever say that.
La 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 la.
Yeah. Anyway, she pulled me aside at one point and said, "Don't you dare let your dad, if I ever die, sell my baskets in a garage sale for a nickel." I'm like,
We're
I
gonna get at
won't.
least $1 out of it.
Well, they were a big deal back in the day and they were super expensive. I don't know if there's still people into them or not. I don't know. But they will not go in a garage sale for a nickel. I promise. Does it embarrass you when I knit and spin in public?
Didn't I just answer that?
I don't think so.
No.
Like when we're at the bar and I whip out my knitting, you don't think anything of it, do you?
No.
Dan doesn't generally care what anyone else thinks. Like,
I was slightly concerned once when the first time we flew with her knitting stuff. Get on an
'cause
airplane with giant zombie pokers. And they were like, cool, you knit. Bye.
Does it embarrass you when I knit or spin at family gatherings?
No.
Yeah. What does your family say behind my back about me doing that?
Nothing.
Nobody cares that I knit. It's a part of me and everybody knows it. I don't think I've ever, well, you know me. I don't give a shit. When we're out in public and I'm knitting, I don't pay attention to anybody else. I don't know if do people look at me?
Something.
Like when I'm knitting, when I whip out my knitting. I don't pay attention to that at all. And we've been together long enough now. I could see how if you first started dating someone and it was like your first Christmas with them at their family event and you just whipped out your knitting and were like ignoring people, that would be different. We've been together 12 years. I knit and ignore people just fine. No, I don't ignore people because I can knit and still be part of the conversation. I don't have to look at my knitting. I just don't. It's not an issue and never has been. And if it's an issue for any of you guys out there, I feel so bad for you because it shouldn't be. It makes you happy and who cares? There was a podcast that I was knitting the other day and she said...
You were knitting a podcast?
That I was knitting the other day. That I was watching the other day. And she said that she doesn't knit in church because she wants to set an example for her kids. And I was thinking about it and I was like, if I went to church, I would totally knit in church. Because much like I had mentioned in another video when I was doing my yarn bowl in high school, typically I slept through American history. While I was doing my yarn bowl, I paid attention because I was awake. I pay more attention when I am able to knit because I'm listening. Whereas if I didn't have anything, I feel like I'd space out. And then I was watching another podcast, seriously, the next day. What are you doing?
Spacing out.
I was watching another podcast the next day and somebody, I think it was the Suburban Stitcher, I could be wrong, said that she knits in church. And I was like, it's so weird how people, some people think that it's not good and some people think it's everybody's own opinion. Y'all do what you want to do. You only live once and do your thing.
Let me do me.
You do you, I'll do me. And if somebody makes you feel bad for it, then, maybe that somebody isn't for you. I don't know. I wonder if that'll start a divorce. Will that start some divorce proceedings for some of you? I love you, honey. Thank you for letting me be me. What would you say I knit the most of?
Yarn.
Projects.
Socks. Most time or most quantity of projects? Because the Even Star took a year.
Life with an engineer.
You can do
Right
a pair
here.
of socks in a
Sheldon.
weekend.
Hashtag Sheldon.
Or quantity of yarn. Even Star probably has the most yarn. Maybe the sweater. Would that have 6 skeins?
5.
5.
Well, which one? Which sweater?
The one I like.
Anyway,
Any of them. They're all huge. Anyway.
I don't know. That's a hard question.
Apparently.
I have a pretty good mix of things because I get bored, so I kind of knit a bunch of different things. And I crochet. I look at crochet as a palette cleanser. I spin I Pinterest, I DIY. I'm always doing something different. So, and I've said before, I don't typically knit the same pattern twice because there are so many awesome patterns out there. Why would I do something again when I could do something new? I look at traveling the same way. We have friends that will go to the same place every year. My mom goes to Key West every single year. I don't like that because I feel like you only live once and we've already been there. I want to see all the things, you know? Like I want to go to places I haven't been before so that I can experience it all. She says, as I say, I go to Yellow Springs every year. But the Fire Festival is different because there's always different vendors there. So that doesn't count.
Drinking game. Take a drink every time she says that doesn't count.
That doesn't count. Why do you think I knit?
Why do I think you knit? Because you like to?
Is there a deeper answer than that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
What's the answer? I'll repeat it.
I just knit because I like it. I like making things.
That's what I said.
Out of all of the crafty things that I do, I think that knitting is the most mobile. It's easy to take with you. It's easy to do, see previous conversation, while still being involved with others. How would you rate me on a crafting skill level?
0 to 10?
I don't know.
The finished product or your portion of it?
No need to be modest. You can tell them that I am a knitter extraordinaire.
You said crafting. They know the knitting.
I am a crafting extraordinaire.
What if you wanted to paint a sign to hang in the bathroom? Where would you start?
Dan.
What if you wanted to put an international truck picture on a bunch of old skid wood and hang on the wall? Where would you start?
Dan. So
What if you wanted to paint the walls in pretty much any house? Where would you start?
throughout our relationship, the reason I feel that we do so well together is because I'm the picker and he's the putter. So I come up with the idea and he makes it happen. Like he's the stud finder in the walls and he's the one who's like, you can't hang that with that. You need to use this and you need to sand that first. He's that guy. So
Look what we made.
back to the question. How would you rate me on a crafting skill level?
8.
An 8. We make a good partnership. That's what I'm gonna say.
I fill in the other 2.
Yeah. What do you think we do at knit night?
What is knit night?
Like when I go to Dash with the girls. Like when I go knitting.
Knit?
We
Talk?
Yeah, and eat some food usually. We usually eat, knit,
Depends on
and
where you
talk.
go.
Nothing that he would want to do, that's for sure.
It depends on where you went to eat.
It would be no different than any other meal, except you'd have to listen to all of the knitters talk versus me talk about knitting. How many subscribers do you think I have on my podcast?
327 last time I looked. What do you know?
I don't know. I want to say three.
You're asking me a question you don't know the answer to?
I don't pay attention to that stuff. I mean, I kind of pay
Well, I'm
attention.
supposed to.
Well, no, it was just,
327. How many
it was
did
a
you
question.
Last time you asked. Or last time you looked, how many did you have?
I think it was 360,
Wow.
but
Famous. I'm telling you. Autograph.
dude, the grocery girls, most podcasters have a couple few thousand. The grocery girls have like 25,000 or something.
Yeah,
I
they're
think
more
they're the
famous.
most.
They're more famous.
They're definitely more famous. How many followers do you think I have on Instagram?
No idea.
I have no idea. I don't have a. I hundreds. I think I have like 8 something maybe. I don't know. I don't pay any attention to that. Have you ever watched my podcast?
Yes. But
Yes,
not
you have.
the latest episode.
Yeah, told me he's not allowed to watch the latest episode until next week. What is your favorite podcast? Fiber or and not? Dan watches a lot of podcasts. So what's your and his podcasts
YouTube or podcast?
Well, YouTube. We'll do YouTube since this is YouTube. Dan watches a whole bunch. So what's your favorite?
For what?
Because there might be, especially if these people have their husbands watch this, maybe they'll be into it. So what Dan watches a whole bunch of stuff. So what's your favorite not fiber?
My favorite today?
Yes.
My favorite today was Off the Ranch.
And that's about?
Matt, he has 3 channels: Off the Ranch, Demolition Ranch, and Vet Ranch. He runs a rescue animal hospital. His dad and him are vets, and they have a bunch of other vets and vet techs, and that's a channel. I don't watch that one. There's a bunch of sick dogs, and he brings them back to health and gets them adopted out, but it's still a bunch of sick dogs. Demolition Ranch, he blows shit up and shoots lots of guns and blows up guns. And then Off the Ranch is just like him in general. He got a kit car that I thought was pretty cool. But he just does fun stuff.
What is your favorite fiber podcast? Being how I watch them all the time, and we've been together 12 years, so he has seen some of them.
Chevyrell stuff.
Not me.
Oh, probably the chick with her husband, because they do some not fibery stuff.
Knit style? No, they don't.
Rich and
Yeah, the yarn boy,
Yeah.
Rich and Sharon. Yeah, he
they
does
talk
get
about all kinds
excited.
of stuff, not fiber.
Because Rich is always funny and singing and stuff. But it's mostly fiber.
Well, they don't sit around talking about the mistakes in the sock pattern and why they chose this colorway over this colorway and why this person's yarn is better than that person's yarn, because I don't care.
Okay, anybody else?
A fat squirrel. She has a fun laugh.
He'll come in from another room and be like, is that Amy Beth? I'm like, yes. What's your favorite episode so far? And I'm assuming that means mine? Like my podcast episode?
Probably. The one before this one that I was in.
Oh, the announcement? To announce this video? Is it because you were in it or
Yeah.
because you got to genie in?
Both.
If I knit you a sweater, would you wear it even if it's hideous?
No.
He wouldn't wear it if it was the coolest thing since sliced bread.
Nope.
Actually, I have to tell you, Betty White is older than sliced bread, so the saying really should be the coolest thing since Betty White. Just saying. If you could dictate a monthly allowance, I would never be with anyone, FYI, who dictated anything to me. But if you could dictate a monthly allowance for yarn, how much would it be?
$2.
Dan doesn't care. Dan doesn't care. We both work. We both make money. He buys pretty things. I buy pretty things. We good. Do I need to go on a fiber diet? Do you know what a fiber diet is?
No.
Okay, so a lot of...
is where you don't buy yarn.
Yeah, a
And
lot of
make
people,
stuff out of
not
what you
like
have.
me, that buy a shit ton of yarn will be like, I need to chill out. And I don't buy enough to do that. So I never go on a fiber diet. As close as I will go is there are times that I will want something but not buy it because I'm trying to save my money knowing that I'm going to a fiber festival. So I'll wait then.
When's the last time you bought a skein of yarn?
I just bought this Harrisville design. Before,
Highland?
well, it's Highland worsted by Harrisville Designs. And it is so sheepy and awesome. Ugh, cannot wait to start it. Anyway, before that though, I don't know. Oh yes, I do. Vine. I got a Vine update. I don't buy a lot. I just don't. How much do you think my stash is worth?
$1,000.
I have no idea. I do know that we have a rider on our home insurance for my fiber things because I have a lot. I mean, including my spinning wheel, all my hand spun. Not near what a lot of stashes are. So I hope that some of you who have small yarn shops look into putting a rider on your home insurance, because if anything ever happened, that would be bad. Last question. Do you have any questions for me?
How much does a 2x4 cost?
$3.
Depends.
There's different kinds.
Yeah. The full 8 foot.
Treated and untreated? What are
Oh.
the kinds?
Just untreated interior. There's a full 96 foot and then the 72 and a half, 76 inch. A wall stud length. It's already pre-cut to make an 8 foot wall. Those are cheaper. They're usually like $1.78. Then yeah, $2.50-ish for the regular 8 footer.
And now you guys know what a wide range 2x4s come in, which is why I knit and he builds things. I hope you guys liked this video. I really hope that you guys do the tag as well. Thanks, honey. Because I want to see what your siggos think, and best friends and husbands and wives and all of the people, whoever you choose to answer the questions. I'll put the questions in the link below so that they'll be easy for you to copy so you can do your own video. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. I'm glad that you got to meet Dan.
Bye everyone.
We'll see you later, and I look forward to seeing what you guys do with the tag. Bye.